Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm here in this video. I'm going to discuss about second unit, that is current electricity. So in the first unit on electrostatic, we have learned about the various characteristics of the charges at rest. And in this unit of current electricity, we will study about the charges in motion and the various effects and phenomena related to it. Right? So suppose two conductors charged to different potential are supposed on insulating state. Okay. If they are held at a distance, suppose there are two conductors here. These are two conductors insulated on a, these are two conducted. These conductors are held at a distance. They supported on an insulating stand, right? So there is no flow of charge from one conductor to another conductor, since the potential difference exists between them. So it is due to the fact that the charge on the conductor are separated by air, and air is insulator, right? So if there is a charge conductor, if these charge conductor are connected by metallic wire, something like this, these two conductor are connected by a metallic wire, it is found that there is a net flow of charge from one conductor to another conductor. As we know that charge flows from higher potential to lower potential, and these flow of charge continues till their electric potential become equal, right? So if we maintain the constant potential difference between two conductors, we get a constant net flow of steady charge in one direction in the metallic wire connecting the two conductors. So the net flow of charge in our direction through a metallic wire constitute an electric current, right? So what is current electricity? We know that current electricity is the branch of physics in which we study the charges in motion. Clear? And in electrostatic, we studied the charges which are in rest position. So I think this is clear to you. So let's start from first topic of this unit, that is current. What is current? So current is, the electric current is defined as the charge flowing through any section of the conductor in 1 second. Clear? Current is flow of charge from any one section from the conductor is called electric current. So electric current equals to Q upon T. If the rate of flow of charge is steady, and I equal to dq over dt if the rate of flow of charge is varies with time. So what is the unit of electric current? So we find that unit of electric current is charge per second, which is given by ampere. Okay. Now what is 1 ampere? So 1 ampere is the current flowing through a conductor is said to be of 1 ampere when charge is flowing through it at the rate of 1 coulomb per second. Clear? So we can write it I equal to Q upon T and I equal to 1 coulomb 1 second. This is 1 ampere. Okay. So the current flowing through a conductor is set to 1 ampere when the charge is flowing through it at the rate of 1 coulomb per second. This is the definition of 1 ampere. I think this is clear to you. So there are different types of current. Steady current, which does not vary with times. From this graph, this A graph represents steady current. This is the graph between current versus time. Clear? So this is steady current because it is not changing with time. So this is called steady current. Now B and C, here B is this and C is, B is this and C is this. These two currents are changing with time. So these are called varying current whose magnitude varies with time. Right? Now D is current whose magnitude varies continuously and direction changes periodically. This is called AC current. AC alternating current. Okay. So I think this is clear to you. Now what is the direction of current? So direction of current is given by in reality, electric current are movement of electrons along the conductor. Okay. For historically, current is treated as flow of positive charge to the direction of opposite to that of actual movement of electron. Consider this is a electric circuit. This is positive potential and this is negative potential. And this is bulb. Okay. Now, when switched on this, electron start flowing from this direction. The current due to electron is called electronic current and positive charge flowing through from this direction. And this current is called conventional current. So the charge, the positive charge move in the direction is called conventional current and negative charge move opposite to the positive charge, which is called electronic current. Right? Electronic current is opposite to positive charges, which is conventional current. Now, when we say current now, what I mean is it electric current or conventional current? Because at one time you can assume it to be either electronic current or conventional current. Then what will we do? We will always consider current will that start from negative and it will ending positive. Or we will assume that current will always start from positive and it will ending at negative. Right? You can assume both things. So basically, conventional current is current which flows from positive charge. And electronic current is which flows from negative charge. So I think this is clear to you. Right? Now, what is the direction and magnitude of the currents? That means current is scalar quantity or current is vector quantity. So current is scalar quantity because electric current is moving along conductor has only two possible directions. Electric current are scalar quantity because it adding and subtracting the current does not consider the orientation of the conductor in space. Right? Current, addition of current does not follow the vector addition, law of vector addition. So electric current is a scalar quantity. Now from this figure, current I naught is flowing through this circuit. I1 is current is going in this direction and I2 is current going in this direction. Now net current is given by I naught equal to I1 plus I2. So this I1 plus I2 does not follow the vector addition. So we can say that current is a scalar quantity, even though it has magnitude as well as direction, right? So as I told you, conventional current is the current whose direction is along the direction of motion of positive charges under the action of electric field. And conventional current due to motion of electrons is in the direction opposite to that of motion of electron, right? Conventional current, what? It is the direction is along the direction of positive charge. And what is electronic current? It is the current which flows in the direction from the negative charge, that is opposite to the direction of positive charge. So I think this is clear to you. What is current, what is direction of current, and current is a scalar quantity, right? So now, what is the cause of flow of current in a conductor? That means how the current flows in a conductor. So in metal, atoms are bounded strongly with each other. All we know that about, right? And these atoms occupy fixed position, but the free electrons in absence of electric field move in random direction, right? This is conductor and electron move in random direction. Okay? Electron move in random direction and they have different velocities. So the number of free electrons moving through this cross section in one direction is nearly equal to the number of free electrons crossing it while coming from opposite direction. So net flow of charge as well as the net velocity through any cross section will be 0. Clear? Hence, so no current flows through the conductor in the absence of electric field. So this average velocity is called thermal velocity. Thermal velocity is 0 because electrons move randomly in any direction. Suppose one electron is moving in this direction, other one is moving in this direction. When we added V1 plus V2 is thermal velocity, so we get it is 0. So the net thermal velocity of the electron in conductor which are in the absence of electric field is 0. Clear? So now consider a conductor. This conductor is kept in electric field. In this condition, conductor is kept in this electric field. Electric field direction is positive to negative. This is positive and this is negative. So the free electrons in the conductor will be accelerate towards the positive direction in order to neutralize the charges of the conductor. Clear? The motion of the electron will be there till the electric field inside the conductor activates. In this situation, there will be a current for a very short time. So this short time current is called transient current in the conductor. Now, if we apply a steady electric field in a body of a conductor by connecting a cell or a battery across the two ends of the conductor, then there will be a steady current in the conductor rather than the transient current. Okay. So now when the conductor is placed in electric field, the electrons gain direction, particular direction, and current start flowing through this conductor. Okay. A metal in a conductor has large number of free electrons. We already know that. And these electrons at room temperature move at random with velocity of conductor. And this velocity is called thermal velocity. As we have already discussed about, the sum of thermal velocity is 0. Clear? The average thermal velocity in a conductor is 0 in the absence of electric field. When this conductor is placed in electric field, some potential difference is applied across the two ends of metallic conductor. So electric field is set up inside the conductor, and as a result of which the free electrons in the conductor experience a force. Free electrons in a conductor experience a force in a direction opposite to that of electric field. Direction of electric field is this. So electrons move in this direction. Clear? They pushed to opposite to the electric field from negative end to positive end of the conductor. Okay? So on their way, the accelerated free electrons suffer frequent collisions. That means they collide with the another electrons. This electrons is moving in this direction, and this electrons collide this electron. Clear? And gain kinetic energy. After each collision, the electrons are again accelerate due electric field towards the positive end of the conductor and lose their gain kinetic energy in the next collision. Clear? Now, next collision with the ions or atom of the conductor. It means the extra velocity gained by free electron is lost due to collisions. Now, this process continued till the electron reaches to positive end of the conductor. Okay. So, thus, under the effect of electric field, the free electrons are having random thermal velocities and acquired small velocity. Clear? With which they move towards positive end of the conductor. Right? So these velocities are different in different directions. So each free electron describes the curved path between two successive collisions. Curved path, something like this. Electrons, suppose this is negative and this is positive, so electrons move in this direction like this, and this, and this, and this. Clear? Okay, this is electrons is moving in this direction, they continue curved path during the collisions, right? Due to it, each free electron described a curved path between two successive collisions. So as a result of it, the free electron drifts towards the positive end. Clear? Of positive end of the conductor with some average velocity, and this average velocity is called drift velocity, right? So the drift velocity, what is drift velocity? So drift velocity is defined as the velocity with which the free electrons get drifted towards the positive terminal under the effect of applied electric field, right? Drift velocity is defined as average velocity with which the free electrons get drifted towards positive end of the conductor under the influence of the electric field applied. So the drift velocity of electron is of the order of 10 raised to power minus 4 meter per second, right? So from this figure, V is the potential difference applied across the end of the conductor of length L. Clear? The magnitude of the electric field setup is given by E equal to V upon L. We already know this formula, right? Okay. So the direction of this electric field from positive to negative end of the conductor. Direction of electric field is in this direction, right? Since charge on electron is E, so force experience is given by F equal to minus E into E. Clear? Now here negative sign shows that the direction of force opposite to the direction of electric field. And if m is the mass of the electron, so acceleration of each electron is given by force upon mass, so which is minus E upon m, right? Now due to this acceleration, the free electrons apart from its thermal velocity acquires additional velocity component in the direction opposite to the electric field. However, the gain in velocity of electron due to electric field is very small and lost in next collision with ions or atom of the conductor. So as a result, the acceleration of electron is not proportional to electric field applied, right? So the positive ion also experience a force due to this electric field, but they cannot move. Why they cannot move? Because they are heavy and tightly bound in the metal, so they cannot move. Clear? So acceleration of each electron is given by A equal to minus E upon m. Now at any instant of time, the velocity acquired by electron is given by, from first equation of motion, v equal to u plus at. So we can write v1 equals to u1 plus at1, right? Where t is time elapsed, which is called relaxation time. So what is relaxation time? Relaxation time is the time between two successive collisions. Okay. So similarly, the velocity acquired by other electrons, we can write v2 equal to u2 plus at2, v3 equal to u3 plus at3, and vn equal to un plus atm, right? So the average velocity of electrons in the conductor is the drift velocity, so which is given by Vd equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3 up to Vn divided by n. So on solving, we can write U1 plus U2 up plus up to n un upon n plus t plus a in bracket t1 plus t2 upon n, right? So here u1 plus u2 plus up to un upon n is average thermal velocity. So average thermal velocity of electron conductor is 0. We already discussed about it. Average thermal velocity of electron in a conductor is 0. So here we can write 0. Clear? So and T1 plus T2 plus up to Tn upon n is average relaxation time. So which is given by T. So we can write this equation Vg equal to A T. Clear? So putting the value of A in this equation, we get Vd equal to A is minus E upon m T. Here this is the drift velocity EET upon m, right? So this drift velocity is directly proportional to relaxation time from this equation. Now in this equation, Vd is drift velocity, A is acceleration, T is relaxation time, E is electric field, m is mass of electron, clear, n is number of density of electron, L is length of conductor, and A is area of cross section. Now relation between electric current and drift velocity. What is the relation between electric current and drift velocity? So from above figure, consider a conductor of length L and uniform cross-sectional area A. Okay, connected across a battery. This is conductor and battery is connected to this conductor, right? Now, suppose Vd is the drift velocity of free electron and I is current flowing through the conductor per unit volume. Clear? So, suppose n is the number of electron per unit volume. So, total number of electron per unit volume is given by NaL, right? So total free charge present in a conductor is, we already know this formula, Q equal to N into E. So from this Q equal to Ne, the total charge present in conductor is NaLe, right? Okay. So time taken by electron to length upon Vt. Vd is drift velocity. This is L upon Vd. So current is given by Q upon T. So on putting the value is I equal to Q N A L E upon T, right? So it is given by NEAVT. This is the NEAVT is relation between current and drift velocity. Okay. This is the relation between current and drift velocity. Now do this again. Okay. L upon Vd. dq upon dt, I is dq over dt. So dq is given by here. So dq is given by NaLe and dt is given by T upon Vt, right? This is L upon Vt. So L and L cancel out. So we can write NaVDE. This is the derivation of relation between current and drift velocity. So I think this is clear to you. For a given conductor, current is directly proportional to drift velocity. Okay. So now different conductor have different current carriers. So what is the current carriers? The charged particles whose flow in a definite direction constitutes a electric current are the current carriers. So for the solid, current carriers are electrons. For solid, electrons are current carriers. Clear? Since in a solid, atoms are tightly bound to each other, there is a large number of free electrons in them, which will be responsible for the strong current in them. So, when electric field is applied, electrons are moved in a particular direction. So, electron is the current carriers in a solid, right? Now, current carriers in liquid. In case of liquid conductor like electrolytic solution. Electrolytic solution as copper sulfate, NaCl, etc. They are positive and negative charged ions which can move on applying electric field, causing electric current. So thus in liquid, positive and negative charged ions are current carriers. Now in case of gas, we already know that ordinary gases are insulator of electricity, but they can be ionized only when by applying high potential difference at low pressure. So the ionized gas contain positive ions and electrons. So in case of gases, positive ions and electrons are current carriers. Clear? Now, what is mean free path? When we were talking about a collision of electrons, we have studied about relaxation time. What was relaxation time? Relaxation time is a time that has elapsed since each electron suffered its last collision with the ions or atoms of a conductor. Is called relaxation time, and its value is the order of 10 raised to power minus 14 seconds. Okay. So now what is mean free path? When the electrons move and collide, the average, they cover the distance. So the average distance, suppose electrons is moving and collide this electrons, again this electron collide, this electrons and this electrons. So the average distance covered by an electrons between two successive collisions is called mean free path. This is the mean free path. Clear? The average distance covered by electrons between two successive collisions is called mean free path. So take example. For manganese, temperature coefficient of resistance is very less. Okay, so charge in resistance of the manganese wire with temperature is almost negligible. So manganese is used for standard resistance. Clear? We use manganese in laboratory. So now what is mobility? Next topic is mobility. So mobility is the charge, mobile of charge. Okay. So mobility of charge responsible for current is defined as the magnitude of drift velocity of charge per unit electric field applied. Clear? So mobility is physical quantity which measures the ease of drift of charge carrier constituting electric current in a medium. Clear? So mobility is given by mu equal to Vd upon E, drift velocity per electric field. So now put the values of Vd drift velocity. So we know the formula of drift velocity Q E T upon Me, and E cancel. So you will get mobility equal to Qt upon M, where T is the relaxation time of the charge while drifting toward the opposite electron, while drifting to the opposite to the electric field, and M is the mass of the electrons. Now, what is the SI unit of mobility? So, SI unit of mobility is meter square per volt into second. It is always positive. Clear? So now next topic is current density. What is current density? So the current density is given by current density at a point within a conductor is the current. Current density at a point within the conductor is the current through a unit area of the conductor around that point, provided the area perpendicular to the direction of the flow that current. Clear? So current density is given by current per unit area. Right? So now put the value of current in this equation. So we get J equal to I. We know the formula I and drift velocity and E A V D and divide by A. So A and A cancel. Current density is given by J equal to N E V D. Right? So this is the current density NEVD. So how can we write the current density in vector form? So vector formula is given by I equal to J dot A. Since J is vector quantity, current density is vector quantity, area is also vector quantity. So current is given by J vector dot I vector. Okay. So I think this is clear to you. What is current density? Current density at a point in a conductor is defined as the current flowing per unit area of cross section taken perpendicular to the current. So J equal to I upon A. J is the symbol of current density. Current density is vector which points along the direction of current or the electric field vector. So SI unit of current density is given by ampere per meter square. From this you can find the value of SI unit of current density. So what is SI unit of current density? Ampere per meter square. Okay. So first the positive charge carrier VD, drift velocity is same as the direction of electric field. So current density is along the same direction as E. And for negative charge carrier, drift velocity is opposite to electric field. So current density is the same as electric field. Hence, we conclude that current density has the same direction as the electric field. Clear? So this is something about current density. Now, next topic is, come to the next topic, Ohm's law. What is Ohm's law? Ohm's law states that current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to potential difference V across the end of the conductor provided physical condition of the conductor such as temperature, mechanical strain, etc. Okay. So what is the definition of Ohm's law? How the Ohm's law defined? So we can define it: electric current flowing through a conductor. This is a conductor and battery V is connected to this conductor. So electric current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to potential difference across the two ends of the conductor when physical conditions such as temperature, mechanical strain, etc. remain the same. So I is directly proportional to V. I is directly proportional to V. Or we can write V is directly proportional to R, I. So V equal to R into I. Clear? If V is increased, I is also increased. V is increased 2 times, I is also increased in the same manner. So this is the Ohm's law, right? So where R is known as resistance of the conductor, it depends upon the length, shape and the nature of material of the conductor, right? The variation between potential difference V and I through the conductor is a straight line. So this is a straight line. Clear? And from equation of straight line, we know that y equal to mx plus c. Okay. Here y equal to I, m equal to 1 upon r, and x equal to v. So from this we found that v equal to I into r. Clear? Now deduction of, sorry. So I think this is clear to you what is Ohm's law. According to this law, V is directly proportional to I under the conditions such as temperature, mechanical strain remain same. Okay. So now resistance. What is resistance. So resistance of a conductor is the obstruction which opposes the flow of charge. Clear? Resistance in general, it measure of the physical obstruction or hindrance caused by medium to the direction movement of the charge carriers. Clear? For example, resistance of a conductor is measured the opposition caused by the atoms and electron to drifting electrons, right? So in an electrolyte, resistance is the opposition caused by electrolyte in the movement of positive or negative ions. It is called internal resistance. Okay. So I think resistance is clear to you. What is resistance? Resistance of a conductor is the opposition offered by conductor to the flow of electric current through it. Clear? So from Ohm's law, we got R equal to V upon I. Clear? R equal to V upon I. Now, resistance in terms of physical features of a conductor. So we know the relation between drift velocity and current is given by I equal to N E A V D. This is relation. So now put the value of VD in this equation. We find that I equal to N E A and VD is E E. So is T is relaxation time upon M. So we got I equal to N E square ATV upon M into I. V upon I equal to ML upon NE square ATO. Clear? So now R equal to M L upon NE square T into A. So where M upon NE square T is given by rho. This is rho. So we can write this equation as R equal to rho L upon A. So from this equation, you will get that resistance is directly proportional to length. R is directly proportional to length and R is inversely proportional to area. Clear? Resistance is directly proportional to length and resistance is inversely proportional to area. Okay. Now consider two conductors in the form of slab. Clear? Each of length L. These are two conductors. Here, each are two conductor 1 and conductor 2, each of length L. Okay. Each of length L. This is length L conductor and this is length L conductor. Now, two conductor of length L and area of cross section of each conductor is A. Clear? And V with the potential difference applied across either slab and I with the current through it. So resistance of each slab is given by R equal to V upon I. I think this is clear to you. So now let these two conductors be placed side by side. Starting conductor are placed something like that. Now these two conductors are placed side by side. So total length of the conductor is given by 2L. Clear? If some potential difference is applied across ends of the slab here, okay, then the current through them will become half I by 2. Therefore, the resistance of the combinations R is given by V upon I by 2. So it comes out to R equal to 2R. Thus, On doubling the length of the conductor, the resistance also double. Therefore, the resistance of a conductor is directly proportional to length. I think this is clear to you. So now what about area of the cross sections? So now explain it. Divide a conductor. This is the conductor slab. Here, yes. This is conductor slab. Now divide this conductor slab into two area. Area is A by 2 and area of this part is also A by 2. Clear? Now, so divide it into equal area so that the slab may be considered as a combination of two identical slabs. Each of length is L. Now apply the potential difference between this. Clear? So when the same potential difference is applied across each of the slab, the current flowing through each is I by 2. Okay? Each is I by 2, which is half of the current through the full slab. The resistance of each slab, each of half slab is given by R dash equal to 2R. Half slab is given by R dash equals to 2R. It means halving the area of, if we halve the area of the cross section of the conductor, the resistance of a conductor is proportional to the area of cross section of the conductor. It will decrease. It will 2 times increase. If we halve the area of the conductor, the resistance is increased. Clear? And if we increase the area of the conductor, resistance is decreased. So I think this point is clear too. So as area is inversely proportional to resistance and length is directly proportional to resistance. So on increasing the length of the conductor, resistance increase. And we decrease the length of the conductor, resistance is also decrease. So I think this point is clear to you, right? So now move to next point, deduction of Ohm's law. Derivation of Ohm's law. So we know the formula of current density and current and drift velocity, which is given by I equal to NEA VD. This is. And we know VD, drift velocity, is EET upon M, where small e, charge on electron, capital E, electric field, T is relaxation time, and M is the mass of electrons, right? So now, from this equation, I equal to, put the value of drift velocity in this equation, in equation first. So on putting this value in above equation, we find that, okay, I equal to NEA. Now VD is EET upon M, right? Now this is the equation. Now put the value of E is equal to V upon L, volt per meter. We already know this value of electric field. So equation becomes NE square TAV upon M into L. Now from this equation, V upon I equal to M upon, now on solving, let's solve this equation. I equal to NE square TAV upon M into L. And V upon I equal to ML upon NE square TA. Clear? So now ml upon from this equation this is V upon I equal to m upon ne into ne square. Okay, this equation is given by this, right? So this is, we can write this equation V upon I equal to ml upon ne square at. Clear? So now, if physical condition remain unchanged, so all terms on the right side of the equation remain constant. So V upon I is constant. And we can write V is directly proportional to R. This is the proof of directly proportional to I. This is the proof of Ohm's law. Clear? So I think this point is clear to you. Now there is another familiar form of Ohm's law which relate to current density vector and electric field. Okay, according to this, J is directly proportional to J vector is directly proportional to E vector. Okay, J vector is directly proportional to E vector. Right? Now, J upon E, we can write is J vector upon E vector is sigma. Here sigma is constant of proportionality and is called conductivity. We will discuss about it in later. Clear? So sigma is the conductivity of material of a conductor. It is simply reciprocal of resistivity of the material and it is independent of electric field producing the current. So I think this is clear to you. Now what is the unit and dimensional formula of resistance? So resistance is given by V upon I. We can write is volt per ampere or O. Clear? So unit of resistance is O. And write dimensional formula of resistance by yourself. So I think this is clear to you. So what is the resistance? What is 1 ohm resistance? So we can say resistance of a conductor is said to be 1 ohm when a potential difference of 1 volt applied across its end cause a current of 1 ampere to flow through it. Okay. Now next topic is what is resistivity or specific resistance. So for this, from formula we know that R equal to rho L upon A. R equal to rho L upon A. So we can write this rho equal to R A upon L. If L is 1 meter and area is 1 meter square. So we find that rho equal to R. Clear? So resistivity, where we already know that rho is the resistivity. So resistivity or specific resistance of a material of a conductor is numerically equal to the resistance of a conductor of length 1 meter and area of cross section is 1 meter square. Clear? So rho equal to me square upon t. From formula, resistivity equal to me square upon m upon n square t. Rho equal to m upon n e square t. Okay. So here m is the mass of electron it is constant. N is the number of electron per unit volume, it is also constant. E is the charge of electron, it is constant. Okay, so resistivity of the conductor depend on nature of material, and resistivity is inversely proportional to, we can write, resistivity is inversely proportional to relaxation time. Resistivity is inversely proportional to relaxation time. Okay, so on which factor resistivity of a conductor depend? So we can say resistivity of the conductor depends upon the nature of material, and it is inversely proportional to relaxation time of the free electrons in conductor. This was all about resistivity of the conductor. So I think this is clear to you. So now there is some relation between drift velocity, resistivity, current, electric field, current density, and potential. So let's solve these relations. We already know that rho equal to E upon J. Clear? Rho is resistivity equal to electric field upon current density. So it is given by okay. Here this how this formula came. So we already know that conductivity is the reciprocal of resistivity. Conductivity is given by J upon E. So resistivity is given by rho equal to E upon J. Okay. So this is clear to you, I think. Correct? Now put the value of J. So we already discussed drift velocity and current density. Current density equal to J equal to NEVD. So now put the value of current density in this equation. We find rho equal to E upon NEVD. Clear? All formula is written here. So now VD equal to E upon NE rho. From this equation, we got VD equal to E upon NE rho. How did this come? So from this, we have to find VD. So VD equal to VD E upon NE rho. Clear? From our equation. So VD equal to V upon NE rho L, where E equal to V upon L, right? So this is the relation between drift velocity, potential difference, resistivity. Clear? Now conductor and conductivity. What is conductor? Conductance is the reciprocal of resistance. Resistance is what? Resistance resists the motion of charge particles, and conductance allow to flow the charge particles. Clear? So what is conductance? Conductance is the reciprocal of resistance. Its unit is mho, MHO. Now conductivity, what is the conductivity? Conductivity is conductivity is the reciprocal of resistivity. You have already known that what is resistivity. Resistivity is the resistance 1 meter length is applied and area of cross section of the conductor is 1 meter square. Resistance is resistivity. Clear? So what is the conductivity? Conductivity is the reciprocal of resistivity. So unit of resistivity is ohm per meter, ohm into meter, and conductivity reciprocal of resistivity is conductivity. So unit of conductivity is mho per meter, right? Okay. So now temperature dependence of a resistance. So we already know the formula of resistance is R equal to M, this is ml upon n square Ta. When the temperature of the conductor increase, the number of collisions also increases due to the more internal energy. Clear? When the number of collision increases, the relaxation time decrease. What is relaxation time? Relaxation time is the time taken by the electron, a time of the electrons between two collisions. So when temperature increase, number of collisions also increase due to more internal energy, and relaxation time is decrease. So if relaxation time decrease, we already know that relaxation time is inversely proportional to resistance. So relaxation time decrease and resistance increase. So we can say if temperature of the conductor increases, resistance also increase due to decrease in relaxation time. Okay. Now temperature temperature coefficient of resistance formula is given by alpha equal to RT resistance and temperature T minus R naught resistance at zero temperature upon R naught into T. R naught is the initial temperature. Clear? Or we can write alpha equal to R2 minus R1 upon R1 T2 minus R2 T1. Here R naught is the resistance at 0 degree centigrade, R1 is resistance at T degree centigrade, R1 at T1, RT is T1 degree centigrade, and R2 is resistance at T2 degree centigrade. And if R2 is less than R1, then alpha is negative. Alpha is the temperature coefficient. Okay. So we will discuss about temperature dependency of conductor, insulated, semiconductor in next video. Okay. So now let's start to solve some problem related to this topic that you have learned today. So in first problem is given by in hydrogen atom. First problem is in hydrogen atom, an electron move in an orbit of radius 5 into 10 raised to power minus 11 meter with a speed of 2.2 into 10 raised to power 6 meter per second. Find the equivalent current. Now in this you have to find the equivalent current. So for this, first read this question attentively. So first read this. In a hydrogen atom, what is given in this question? An electron move in an orbit of radius r. So radius is given in which electrons move, which is 5 into 10 raised to power minus 11 meter. And other quantity is speed of the electron is V equal to 2.2 into 10 raised to power 6. 2.2 into 10 raised to power 6 meter per second. Clear? Now what you have to find out? You have to find out equivalent current. So for this, current is given by I equal to Q upon T. You already know this formula, I equal to Q upon T. So T, you have to find T. So for finding the T, we know that if any object move in a circular orbit, it has a time period, and time period is given by 2 pi r upon v. So we can write 2 pi r upon v. Clear? So 2 pi r upon v. On solving this, now put this value in this equation. So I is given by I equal to Q upon T. So Q is charge on electrons. We already know V 1.6 10 raised to power minus 90 upon 2 pi 3.14. 3.14 into R. R is given 5 into 10 raised to power minus 6. Sorry, 11. Minus 11. 2 pi R upon V. V is 5 into 10 raised to power 6. Clear? So on solving this equation, we find the value of current, which is given by 1.12 into 10 raised to power minus 3 ampere. Okay, so I think this numerical is clear to you. So now next numerical is given by a copper wire of radius, copper wire of radius 2 millimeter is connected in series to an aluminum wire of radius 3 millimeter. Okay, so here given copper wire, radius of copper wire is 2 millimeter, and this wire is connected in series to another aluminum wire whose radius is 3 millimeter. Clear? If a current of 5 ampere is passed through them, 5 ampere is current is passing through conductor. Find the current densities in the wire. We have to find current densities in the wire copper for copper wire and aluminum wire. Now, drift velocity of free electron through the copper wire. You have to find drift velocity through copper wire, and you have given density of free electrons of copper is 8.4 into 10 raised to power 28. Clear? So now let's start to solve this question. Okay. So now for first part, you have to find current density of copper as well as current density of aluminum wire. So we already know that current density is given by current per unit area. Okay, for first part, current density J1 equal to current density for copper wire is I upon A. I is given how much? 5 ampere. I is current is 5 ampere, and area of copper wire pi r square. So pi 3.14, or we can write 22/7. Clear? Pi r square. Radius of copper wire is given 2 millimeter. So we can write 2 into 10 raised to power minus 3 meter square. Okay. And similarly, J2 equal to I upon A. So this is given by 5 upon I2 pi r square. So pi r square 22/7 and 9 into 10 raised to power minus 6. 3 millimeter is radius of this wire, aluminum wire. So on solving this equation, current density is 1.77 into 10 raised to power 5 ampere per meter square. Okay.